like my parents and like, what's his name, Anthony Albanese or something, when they were like all kids, like there was no phones or social media or anything, so they don't really understand how it is like growing up.
And right now in Australia, this conversation is louder than ever, with the new ban on social media for children under 16. Families across the country are rethinking what's safe, what's fair, and what boundaries make sense.
There are some things that we do clash about. As every 11-year-old wants more device time. Jarvie doesn't have any social media. He has a phone that just has text messages and phone calls to contact me.
My first order of business is for you to take the passcode off the iPad.
The first thing that Jarvis asked for, he always knew that's what he was going to do, and he did it. Yes. Our whole life revolves around the passcode, and he was straight away, can you please take the passcode off?
I really think like I can be trusted with the advice, so I want the passcode off.
Okay, and so it begins. Don't look. Don't look. I think that you have to have a passcode on the devices. We have to have boundaries and control over it. Otherwise it becomes a constant negotiation. Passcode's off.
One rule that we have is if we're scrolling, we can't consume, we've also got to create. So say if like Teddy sees a dance that he wants to learn, or like he's like watching over and over again, instead of just watching it, he'll learn it and then, you know, film it to show it to us. Or if I see like, you know, a video that looks really cool, I'll try to recreate it, or like cooking something or baking something, I'll try to recreate it. That's a really big rule.
So many different challenges. And is that because they're girls? Is that because they're 3? Or is that because their parenting this day and age at the moment seems to be quite, you know, into uncharted territory in a lot of things. We want them to be strong and independent. We want them to believe in themselves and know that they can do anything, and navigating, I guess, self-esteem and body image issues and social media and how they work that and how they view the world. Think about it clearly, the biggest challenge is just keeping them busy so they're away from those sorts of influences, because I can't avoid it completely, but I can try and minimise it.
I think there needs to be so much done around it. I know what we do as parents to monitor it, and checking phones and understanding what it, and having time limits. It is an extra job, like it is work for the parent to do. But if you do it properly, there are ways that it can be very positive. But the negative side of it are these algorithms that take people down these rabbit warrens, and that's what we need to be supporting people on. And how do we understand it, and how do kids have the ability to be able to voice their concerns, and parents be able to identify that?
Alexis will need a phone when she goes to high school next year.
Then I can just like text my friends and like I can call them and stuff, and the screen won't be like big and bulky to carry around like an iPad.
But when it comes to things like Facebook and TikTok, we won't be having any of that just for now. I just feel like, especially when you're going into year 7 and you're going into high school and things are changing and there's a lot of big kids, I feel like we just need to really concentrate on who we are and build up the kids' self-esteem first, and really build their confidence before they're ready for any type of social media.
Now, Emily, Jade and Jared, you guys are very big on social media, as is your teen daughter, Millie. How are you guys going to navigate this social media ban with her?
Yeah, so we've been monitoring it very closely, and there are some parts of it that aren't, we don't think the government's got right. However, we can see generally what they're trying to do and what they're trying to do to protect teens. So the way that we're going to be navigating it is making sure that, you know, Millie is not on those platforms and that she's using them responsibly. So, but at the moment, we're still just waiting to see what's actually going to be the fallout.
All of the accounts that our kids have are ours, so they're all started in our name. So we don't think our actual accounts will be shut down because they're our accounts in the first place. And that was what we did when we started social media use with the kids. They did everything with us by their side. You can even see there, I'm dancing in all the videos. So,
and I loved what you said, by the way, about not just consuming, about creating.
Yes. We taught very early on that Millie wasn't allowed to just be a consumer, she had to be a creator. So that didn't mean necessarily creating for the devices or for the social services. It was, did you see a cake being made? Let's make that cake.
Yeah, and get creative.
Absolutely, and
active.
she did. She has used it for good, and Ted has taught himself to play chess through it. So there are good things on there. There's good and bad in everything in the world, just like with social media.
And so we don't necessarily agree with the ban. We wish perhaps the first level had have been a huge education program rolled out for parents across the country. You know, when people smoke, we didn't ban smoking, but we rolled out huge education for smoking and the effects of smoking, and I feel that's what we should have done.
Yeah. And how is she feeling about the whole thing? Bit devastated?
She's devastated.
Yeah.
A lot of teens are. And I think there's two categories here. There's 12 and under, and then there's the teen era. 12 and under, definitely no social media, no even devices, to be honest. We know what it does to their brains. It changes the way their brains are formed. But that teen era, that's different, and it's vast. A 12-year-old is different to a 14-year-old, is different to a 16-year-old. And so there are 14-year-olds going to work, and they're not able to socialise with their workmates that are a little bit older because they're not going to be able to have social media.
And
so I feel like we've not nailed it.
No.
But I do appreciate what the government's trying to do.
And I don't think probably COVID helped with that as well. We spent 2 years, well, if you're in Melbourne, you spent 2 years in lockdown. That's how we communicated. It's how our kids communicated. So yeah, it's ripping the rug.
It was a
beneath them.
lifesaver for children during COVID. Let's face it. It was how they connected with others when they couldn't. And now we're saying, oh, but that's bad.
Yeah. It's going to be an interesting time to watch and wait, I guess. Ralph, I think your child, Soph, is the youngest of all the kids we have represented here.
Yep.
And how is Soph going to be affected by the social media ban?
She's already talking about it with us. I guess over the last year, it's been more prevalent with her age group. And that's something that I've, as a parent, got to get my head around, that we grew up with our parents going, get out, I don't want to see you till the lights go on in the street. We're definitely not like that in our current environment. And they're going to the park is actually getting on Messenger and having this group chat for half an hour on a Saturday afternoon, and me sometimes wanting to go and stop that, and then I've got to stop myself at the door and go, hang on, she's actually socialising with her friends here, and I've just got to woe back a bit. So I think the government has to maybe respect that this is the way kids are interacting with each other as well. And I'm all for them, governing how much interaction they have on social media and what age limits they have that at. But I think, we're just moving in a different time now. We're not going out and making mud pies anymore.
No, bring back the mud pie.
Yeah.
Not at my house though, someone else's.
Correct. Yeah, but also on the other side of it is, if I find Soph on her phone and I find myself going to go, get off your phone, then half the time it's me looking at myself going, hang on, I should be providing her with something to do.
Something, stimulation.
Taking her out
games
for an activity or whatever. And there's the dynamic changes, and as they get older and she's a little girl, a little woman, so like now she's getting ears pierced, and I'm not the only one getting her nails done anymore, you know?
No, you can do it together.
So there's lots of parties to go to, and there's that interaction in social media, and if they miss out on something, they're quite upset about it because that's how they're communing.
Yeah. Does anyone else have any thoughts on the social media ban? Yes, Neil.
So the law is giving a little bit power for the parents, because even the alcohol under 18, but a lot of under 18 children are given some alcohol in the parties. I know that. So I don't know how it's going to work. But so parents get a little bit power.
Yeah.
But one of the things I think that the government could be pressing on is the social media companies changing these algorithms to actually protect children, because at no point in this in the rollout of this ban have they been talking about the protection of these algorithms, protecting of children, having education around bullies, how to deal with bullies, how to deal with some of these instances where the kids can go on down these rabbit warrens of scrolling, instead of being able to protect the children in relation to who they follow, who they interact with. None of that's been pushed onto Meta or any of the other, so like Snapchat or any of these other platforms, and that's what upsets me, is that is the big problem, and they're not addressing that problem. So what's going to happen when kids get to 16, they get their phone, they get their social media back, and now we're just going to let these kids now be exposed, back to this environment. And that's where I think that the government could have been a little bit more forceful and a little bit more brave with these social media companies and said, hang on a minute, this is the real problem is the algorithm. It's the ability for these children to get sucked into these dopamine driving, scrolling activities.
Remember when they started, it was just your friends and family you looked at. You weren't thrown content. You saw the content your friends and family posted. They need to take it back to the old days.
Yeah, there's no stepping stones. It's like you have it all and now you have nothing.
Yes.
I think that's it though. The government has literally no control over Meta and the big social, so it's that cancel culture of, well, we can't control it or educate about it, so we're just going to machete bin it. And it doesn't.
They're too scared to take them off.
Exactly right. They're just too scared. And, I think our government needs to grow some coonies and educate more.
I feel that I worry about what's happening to to the 16-year-olds that are going to be thrown into this. So, what are they saying? That obviously there's 14-year-olds are different to 16-year-olds, but we're just expecting 16-year-olds to be able to navigate this, and they're not looking at what these programs on education are supporting the children when they get to those levels.
And 16's too hard for an adult to step in sometimes, but if we've stepped in at 13, 14, 15, 16 and guided them, by the time we got there, you'd hope that they'd understand it.
And learn the platforms ourselves. I mean, I'm not very big on Snapchat, but I'm trying to sort of learn how to work my way through it because I've got a teenager. Well, he won't be on it for much longer, but but that's their way of communicating. So
what do you do with your teenagers that are, for want of a better word, already addicted, and then we're just going to put this, like what you're saying, there's going to be a huge
come down, and we're going to be feeling the effects
and it's
of
the
it.
parents and the schools and the teachers are going to cop that, and there's going to be a lot of frustration where the kids aren't going to know where that's coming from. They're going to be all of a sudden short of all this stimulant, and look out for graffiti on your walls, I reckon.
I hope not.
Well, it's the same with anything though. The more you tell the kids don't do it, the more they want to do it. So you guys were right. I think it's about education.
I think you'll
100%.
find they'll figure out a way around this.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Is that what you were going to say?
No, I was just going to say, you saw Alexis say that we're not that very strict when it comes to, times on their devices. There's a balance in our house. They're very, very active kids. They're very social, they have a lot of friends and they have a lot of sports. They're outside a lot, they're doing a lot of things that are away from the computer, so we don't mind them when they jump on. So whether it's homework or whether it's a play on the PlayStation or a device, as long as we have that balance and they're not getting addicted, then we're more than happy. Because it's not always a bad thing to have the devices.
And it's case by case as well. Your children have those personalities where they are happy to play on a device and then run outside and play soccer or whatever it is that they're doing. But some, some kids aren't.
Well, I don't have a problem with my phone at all anyway. One second.